Brandon Sanderson's The Stormlight Archive finishes up this year, well, the first half of the series, with book 5 of the core books coming out in December 2024. I've got a reread coming up. I've been thinking about the books again and all the fun, wonderful things, especially the characters. Here today, I have for you my top 10 best characters from the Stormlight Archive. If you disagree, you're wrong. So we all have opinions about the Stormlight Archive if we've read it, and you really shouldn't be watching this one if you haven't read it, because this is gonna be a little spoilery. I'm not going deep into the characters that are my favorite. I'm just kind of listing them, but there'll be a tiny bit that I'll share about them. And of course, you'll know these are all significant characters, so if you haven't read it, don't watch this yet. Now, here in Fantasy for the Ages, Zach and I, we do talk about a lot of books that we enjoy from fantasy and science fiction in a spoiler light format. You can find those sorts of things here on our channel. Go look for them, but not this one. This is somewhat spoilery. It's kind of halfway between spoils and no spoils. But let's just get to this list and see what you think and how many of them are on your list making you right. Number 10, Adeline Colin. Now, some of you may think this should be higher on the list, but come on, most of the time Adeline is a putz. Yes, he's growing, but it's taking him way too long to do so. That's annoying. So he's still important enough to the story to make it to number 10. Really, it's only because of Rhythm of War that he fits in that high, but stuff did happen, and I'll give it to him, and I look for good things for him in book 5. Number 9, the Lopen. What an entertaining character. One of our Bridge 4 team, who then goes on to significant things as a Knight Radiant. The Lopen makes me laugh. Also, if you need something, this is your guy, because he is connected. Now, most of his connections are relatives, and they're all as weird as Lopen. And they're all Lopen. It's just such a strange element to the story. It's something Brandon Sanderson came up with that I am entertained by. Number 8, Teft. Okay, this is another of our Bridge 4 Knights Radiant. And this is one of the most heart-rending parts of the story when you get to Rhythm of War. I mean, come on, Teft! Ah! If you know, you know. I'm not going big deep onto these things, but I loved what Teft brought to the story and brought to Kaladin early on. This experience, this solid base, a nice evening foundation for those around him. And then what happens for him? Hard stuff. Gets the number 8 slot. The best I could do for you, Teft. Number 7, Moash. Okay, you know the word I want to say. We hate Moash, but we used to love Moash, and that's why we hate Moash so much. But regardless, this is a compelling character, and is there a redemption arc, a true redemption arc, waiting for Moash? We'll find out in book 5, I think. But dang, Moash. Number 7. Number 6, Yasna Colon. Now, I don't know how you pronounce these things for sure. I haven't listened to the audiobooks. That's how I'm going to do my reread later this year, is by audiobook. But some say Jasna, some say Yasna, some say Yasna. You know who I'm talking about, okay? She's very present in the first book, then she disappears, dies? She's got complexity to her. She knows things, and she's deeper than people realize and is becoming such a huge part of the story. I don't always like her, but I appreciate her, and I want to know what she's up to. So, number 6. Number 5, Syl. Kaladin's honor spren. Starts out as just this simple little thing, but she helps Kaladin so much. And then she's hurt by Kaladin so much, but she's still, contributing in some powerful ways to this story, to the overall world that Brandon Sanderson is here to tell us about. And she's so deeply good. I love Syl. I love her lightness, her naiveness, her beautifulness, and what she can be to the story and for Kaladin. So Syl, number 5. Number 4, Shallan or Shallan Devar. Again, disagreements on how to pronounce it, but you know who I'm talking about. Let's say Shallan. This is a character that from very early on in the first book was obvious as a major protagonist of the story. But is she good? And wow, the case remains out on that. How good or how bad is this character? One of the things that's so interesting about her is her mental illness. She has multiple personalities, and trying to merge them, use them all, maximize what she can be because of what's going on up here, very unique, interesting. I always want to know what Shallan is up to, and I'm often worried about what she's going to do at some point. Will she ever become fully whole and fully healthy? That's one of the questions we want to know. So, Shallan, number 4. Some of you maybe think that should have been higher. Some of you still think Yasna should have been higher, but here's one that most of you will think I have too high. Again, you're wrong. Lift. Lift is number 3. What a fascinating and entertaining character. She makes you laugh. First introduced to us in Edge Dancer, the novella, but then comes back in a more prominent way later on in Stormlight Archive. But she's not just comic relief, even though she's so entertaining. She adds a totally different element to what we learn about how magic works in this world. And that turns out to be really significant, and I think may even play even more into what's coming. So, Lift. Man, I love what she added to the story. That's my number 3. Number 2, Dalinar. Dalinar's significance and how much I like this character has grown throughout the series, and I'm all on Team Dalinar here by Rhythm of War, even though, wow, we have learned how horrible he was once upon a time, and the terrible things that he did, and then the price he ended up paying for because of that, and all those who've been hurt around him, and maybe all those who will still be hurt because of him. It's a tragic character, but also a very heroic character. Dalinar is someone I find very compelling. Strong number 2. But for me, number 1, there could only be one. And of course, that's Kaladin. If you think this story is about someone else, you're wrong. This is Kaladin's story. Oh, there's a lot of people involved. There's others that it's significant for, but deep down at its core, this is the story of Kaladin and how through him, the Knights Radiant come back and the world will become a better place once again, more like it should be. Okay, there's my thoughts on Kaladin. At times, he's so frustrating, and sometimes you're just so mad at Kaladin because he's so hard on himself. He can't forgive himself at times. He's his own worst critic 100% of the time. And as he breaks through his own baggage and learns to forgive himself, learns to love himself, learns to move forward in positive ways, he can do so much good for so many people. And as he does all of that, it's going to be helpful for him as well. I love the story, the journey that we're seeing with Kaladin here, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in book 5. There's a ton of other characters in the Stormlight Archive, many of whom I also enjoy, but they don't make my top 10. I'm going to give a shout out to 4 that I seriously thought of putting in here, but I'm not going to really tell you why. One is, and these are not in order, Shen, the Parshman, who, Relaine, really, a Parshendi spy. I told you, spoilers, people, but what a cool character. Navani Colin. Never would have been there through the first couple of books, but where we've got to in Rhythm of War, oh yeah, she was a serious contender. I love Navani, but sorry, nope. Maybe you should have bumped Adolin. It's possible. He was hanging down there at the number 10, but I left her out. Maya Larin. Wow. That moment in Rhythm of War when she speaks. Again, I'm not going to go into the depths of who this is or anything. If you know, you know. But it was worthy just right there to almost make my top 10. The last one, quirky. Bridge 4, just as a character, as an entity, Bridge 4 has been so huge to the story of the Stormlight Archive. It's almost worthy all by itself to be considered a top 10 character. All right, there you go, my top 10. What do you think I got wrong? What do you agree with? What do you think is just totally messed up? That's what the comment box is for. So go ahead and put your thoughts down there. Let me know. While you're looking down at the comment box, you can also see in the show notes other ways to interact with Zach, my son, and I as we do this show, Fantasy for the Ages. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us in other social media sources. Our Discord server, there's an invitation down there. Come join us there, our community of people who like books and all. And of course, while you're looking down at those things, there's a like button. Click it, please. Help us spread the word about our channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we would love it and be honored if you did so. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.